Your business is unique, so naturally you're going to need metrics specific to your needs. The good news is you can customize what you see on your metrics dashboard to your heart's content. Since your key data lives right here in your Ontraport account, it's super easy to set up your dashboard to reflect your most exciting business goals. And as those goals grow and change, which they totally will if all goes well, you can update your dashboard later to match. In this video, I'll show you the different types of metrics you can plug into your dashboard, as well as some specific stats that you may want to keep an eye on. Ready? Let's get cracking. To find your metrics dashboard, click on the Dashboard tab. You'll normally land on the Trends screen with all the pretty charts. We covered this screen in another video. But if you click on the Metrics tab on the left, you'll notice a big open screen with lots of different squares and numbers. These squares are tiles, and the numbers represent your data. You can move these tiles around and display them in different ways. In the upper right corner, you'll see two different display options, Grid and List. The Grid option will lay out your tiles in 6 columns. The List view will make your tiles wider and put them into 2 columns. The data won't change here, just the display style. You can also move your tiles around the dashboard by clicking the pencil icon in the upper right-hand corner. That'll put you in edit mode, where you can click and drag your tiles around the grid and snap them into place. When you're done, click the pencil again, which will turn into a check mark. Click on the check mark when everything looks up to snuff. So now that you've got the aesthetics of the dashboard handled, let's get into the meat, the numbers themselves. To create a new metric, click Add New Metric at the top. A window will pop up and prompt you to fill out a few different fields. Give your metric a name based on what it measures. It could be something as simple as sales data. If you're using the Custom Objects feature, you'll have more than one option in the Object Type dropdown, but by default, you'll see Contacts as the first option. You'll be asked, what kind of metric do you want? You have a few options for metrics. I'll go through them all and give you an example of when they should be used. Number of contacts who did something. This is what you'll use to measure some of your most basic metrics, like how many new customers purchased yesterday. Or you could use it to track how many contacts opened your most recent email. You would set this up with your triggers, which essentially serve as the what for your metric. So when scrolling through your options, think about what will best represent the data you're trying to show. If you want to see sales numbers, for example, you should focus on triggers like purchases product, creates open order for product, and gets a refund on a product. For our email example, simply select the number of contacts who did something option and add a trigger. Then choose Opens Email from your trigger options and choose an email. The next option is number of times something happened. This may seem similar to the last option, but the key difference here is that this shows you the total number of something, not unique contacts who did that thing. If one customer purchased your product twice, this report would show 2 sales, whereas the previous option would only show 1 customer. To set this up, select number of times something happened and add a trigger. Select purchases product and then choose a product. Average number of times something happened per contact. This metric could be used to show you the average number of times a product was purchased per contact, or average number of logins to your membership site per member. If, for example, you have 100 contacts and 10 purchases, this number would come out as 0.1. You can set up this metric by selecting average number of times something happened per contact and adding a trigger. Then select purchases product and choose a product. Your conversion rate will show you the conversion rate between 2 events. For example, this could represent your number of sales divided by the total number of your site visitors. Let's say you want to show the conversion rate on a sales page. You can set up the triggers to visits a landing page for event 1 and purchases product for event 2. Average time between 2 things happening. This is similar to conversion rate in that it's a measurement between 2 events, but the measurement here is time. This metric will show you the average amount of time it takes for a contact to convert from a page visitor to a purchaser. Unlike the last metric, it won't give you the percentage of contacts who convert. So let's say that you're looking at your time to purchase. You'd want to select average time between 2 things happening from the drop-down here and put visits this landing page for event 1 and purchases product for event 2. Note that if you reverse these 2 triggers, you'd be shown the average time from a contact's last purchase to the next time they visited the page again. This might be interesting, but probably isn't what you're going for in this case. Now imagine you want to create an oversight tool for your sales team. You could create something like had task completed with outcome. This will give you a sense of how many tasks are being done in a week. If you wanted to see how long it's taking your sales reps to complete their tasks on average, you could set it up like this. Total value of something across contacts. This metric shows you the total value of something, like the dollar amount for a product sale across your contacts. This is a good metric for tracking revenue. You'll see your total revenue presented to you in a single number. With this type of metric, you can measure your total value of void transactions across contacts. With this metric type, you're only given two trigger options: total dollar sales of product and total dollar of transactions by status. Your average value across contacts shows you the same number total as the last metric, but spread evenly across contacts. So rather than showing you your total revenue, this will show you the average spend per contact. And like the previous metric, you're only given two trigger options: total dollar sales of product and total dollar sales of transactions by status. Moving on to conditions. This is how you'll slice and filter your metrics by excluding portions of your data pool. Your metric triggers will only look at records that match the conditions. Start by clicking Add Condition. Similar to triggers, you have quite a few options to select from, so let's talk about some of them. Let's say you wanted to see your total revenue across multiple lead sources. You could build out different metrics for each lead source using a different condition like lead source equals Facebook, Google, etc. This would give you different tiles that each represent the revenue generated by a particular lead source. Here's another example. To see how often your emails are being opened by hot leads versus customers, you could use conditions to differentiate those two groups of contacts like this. You'll select number of contacts who did something and click Add Trigger. Then select Opens Email from your Triggers dropdown and choose an email. Click Add Condition and select If Contact has tag, then select Has purchased for the tag. Then you have your Select Default Timeframe field. Once you've picked the type of metric you want to measure, choose what time frame you want to display the data for. You're given options like today, yesterday, last 7 days, last month, etc. in the dropdown. A couple of things to keep in mind about this setting. These are default time frame options. You can select custom date range to pick the specific dates you want to measure metrics for. In some cases, it may make sense to set all or some of your metrics to the same time windows, so you're comparing apples to apples on your dashboard. Let's say you want to compare the average spend per contact and conversion rate on your order page. It would make the most sense to use the same time frame for those metrics. On the other hand, you might want to use different time frames when looking at some of your metrics. For example, maybe you want to compare how your sales numbers were this quarter versus last quarter. When you're done building your metric, click Save. This will put the new tile on your dashboard. If you want to edit or delete any metrics on your dashboard, just click the gear icon on any of your tiles. Then you can change your metric however you see fit with the editor. Make sure to click Save once more to save your changes. Also, when you hover your mouse over a metric, you'll see two arrows. This is how you change the time frame for the metric. It allows you to take that same data point and look at it in a different window of time. For example, if you have a metric for total revenue made yesterday, but want to see your total revenue for last week, you don't need to create a whole new metric. You can simply toggle those arrows to the time frame you want to see, and your tile will recalculate your metric. That about does it for your dashboard metrics. As you can tell, the dashboard is a pretty powerful tool that's super customizable. See only the data you want to see. The dashboard is awesome, but we're just getting started. Check out our other reporting in Ontraport videos to see how you can dive even deeper into your data using other reporting tools in your Ontraport account.